Hello, welcome to another Near Reading cast. As always, my name is Jono, and I'm joined once again with Joey. How's it going, Joey?
It's going very well, thank you.
And we're here to watch the 5th elimination round. That's right, only 3 remain at the UK Games Expo Regional. And on the left-hand side, we have Chris Dyer playing Noise. On the right-hand side, we have Dave Hoyland playing IG. And waiting for them in the final, we have Evan Sorgian playing wherever he happens to be playing. And in this game, we've got Noise versus IG. We've chatted a little bit before. Now, on the face of it, Noise would appear to have a bad IG matchup. It appears to play into the IG ability. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. But pre the modern IG, it wasn't really a problem. It was fine. But oof. See, it's
so we've got a turn on cerebral static, which is going to definitely be a problem. It will turn off the mill. So that may or may not be a good thing.
Noise is definitely worse for 49 card IG than it was for 54 card IG, and as we know, Dave is on 49 card IG, Gentleman's IG.
Yes, he is.
So, and Noise is worse for that because there's pieces that he wants, there's combo pieces he wants to find, and he doesn't want those to disappear, so on and so forth. And he hasn't got museums to bring them back quite so easily and things like that. So, he's played Cerebral Static turn 1, even though that does help your ability, but with no ice on archives, Noise would just check the bin.
That's
and
it.
Keeps them face up. So it really, Cerebral Static is always great against Noise. It always has been. It's horrible playing. You don't realise how many of the cards in your Noise deck are great because when they come with the mill, they make them bonkers, right? Cards like Cash, right?
That's it.
If Cash just say gain 2 credits or gain even 3 or 5 credits with Aesop, that's great. But when you actually get a random access of R&D as well, it's much better. But it makes you reluctant to play your deck when you've been Cerebral Static.
So having played the early Cerebral Static, Dave seems fairly content to money up. He did last turn. We might see him install some assets now, or let's see what he does. Chris, on the other hand, he's got a wild side down. He's got a peddler, so he's starting to just.
Hopefully, he's got one of his other power resources on that peddler,
So Dave's going to draw up. So it looks like he's going to intentionally discard some stuff into the bin. That makes sense. He's going to use the IG ability to increase the trash cost. Oh, he's not going to discard, okay, but he's going to set up.
Yeah, so he's got the chronotype on the peddler, so that's good. So he's without the problem of Cerebral Static, Chris is really setting up well.
Well, Chris needs to get an access. If he can steal an agenda,
for sure.
And at this point, the only reason is to kill Cerebral Static, right? Yeah. Now I'm going to go on a limb and assume that Chris Dyer does not have any currents. I know you run some currents when you play Noise.
Well,
when you have played.
We're obviously talking callbacks. This is obviously pre Most Wanted List 2 updates. And
this is Southset Island.
So I did play Hacktivist at this time. Chris does not. You are right, correct. Does not play currents.
So the only way he's going to kill this current as he walks into a Cortex, which is okay because he can break it fast. The only way he can kill currents is by stealing. So he's going to get an access. It's not unreasonable to think by now there might be an agenda in HQ actually. So this is pretty reasonable.
And I mean you're just not going to bounce off a Cortex lock. So
you're going to at least one. Yeah.
You might as well discard. You might as well access.
Another Cerebral Statics. That's not ideal. So even if he can steal, you'd expect that to get played, right?
Now he needs to steal an agenda and imp that out of his hand.
Yeah.
So Cerebral Static makes it so much harder to get an agenda as Noise.
It's not very expensive to get into HQ. But if he can install, say, just anything, a sucker and a cash or whatever,
he could run it for free. Yeah,
he might run a few things. Okay, so now that Dave's starting to kind of steady a little bit, he's starting to throw out some remotes.
So
interesting to see what these are.
I think that's because
an inject is 4 programs.
Yeah.
So money.
I think that's because Chris was poor. That was one of the reasons he put stuff out because he's like, he's going to find it hard to trash stuff now.
Okay, got an imp. So he might consider going back into HQ at some point, maybe start to kill some pieces, get some accesses.
So maybe he inject to get some cards before he was obviously still looking for his Aesops, but
he might have been using inject for draw. That's true.
Yeah.
He's going to check some remotes. Okay, Psychic Field.
So that's a good reason he didn't draw much.
This is. I mean, that's pretty unfortunate. There's a reason this card exists, of course. The reason it's in the deck. So we can get a side game and see what we get. Chris quite poor.
2-0, yeah.
So he pays nothing. He's only got 1 card in hand, actually, so I get that. He's happy to lose the side game. He just doesn't want to spend money. Yeah, he's only lost a medium, so that's fine. He draws. Now,
because he could get Neural to death, maybe. I don't even know if there's Neurals in this deck, though.
I'm not sure, possibly not. Dave's combo. So this is interesting. He's going to tech startup. If he has a dedication ceremony in hand, it's going to be a Ronin, and Chris is going to live a very short life. So it's Jackson. Okay, so Chris is going to breathe a sigh of relief because
So
obviously,
he obviously doesn't have the dedicated in hand.
yeah.
Otherwise he
If
would have
Dave
done
had
it,
the dedication ceremony in hand, he could have tech startup there for a Ronin, and then he could do the combo, which is obviously to res the Ronin, play the dedication ceremony, and then advance and click. So it's 3 clicks, 2 credits.
Yeah, and yeah, Chris would have been dead.
And
so,
Chris would have been dead because it's 3 net.
wow. Yeah, close.
But he didn't have it in hand, so but he can use Jackson to start to get those
But
pieces.
that was sort of... That would have happened even if Chris hadn't lost the side game and that been a psychic field, right? Because he had 1 card in hand when he ran. So with 1 click remaining, he could have even if he kept that hard card, he would have only drawn up and he still would have died to that combo.
Yep, yeah.
So now we're getting the old
So we've got
break the bay and
a 2-thing remote trashing that psychic field,
hostile
which is now in the bin.
infrastructure,
Yeah, so this will definitely be a hostile infrastructure on a breakaway grid, which means he can res it for free, of course, and it will do good work against Imp. So we're going to get a run into HQ. Peddler's going to install a thing to bring memory up to 4, which is good. So you can walk straight through the Cortex lock. So I wonder if Dave will res. He doesn't res the hostile infrastructure. Interesting. So we access through static, which presumably he's thinking about it. He did not imp it. Interesting. I guess there's already one on the table, so maybe he's just going to live with it. I can see the argument to imping, going back and hoping to hit an agenda.
Yeah, especially if he imps something else, this happens.
So this time Dave does res the hostile. I'm not sure why he didn't before. He might have forgotten, actually. Maybe that's it. This is 3 again. He still doesn't want to imp it. Doesn't take damage, I guess.
The hostile won't. The hostile will. Oh no, it will fire the imp.
It's whenever you trash a court card.
Yeah. So if he had imped it first time, he wouldn't have taken a brain damage.
But then he goes back and trashes the hostile from the breakaway, which does, of course, trigger including itself.
I suppose imp is a powerful card against IG because if he does get a lot of cards face down, you need that imp for more important things than that.
He might be wanting to save that.
And I suppose, as you say, the noise ability does help IG, so that's not going to happen with Super Statics out.
The imp is going to be important against Ronins. Well, Ronins and bioethics, you'll be able to trash, of course, with money, but dedication ceremony, if you can hit one of those, then that's a big step back. We get another install on that breakaway, presumably another hostile infrastructure.
Yeah, maybe.
He's going to Jackson draw, okay. With Jackson, of course, IG can overdraw and put cards in the bin, activating its ability, and still keep agenda safe because Jackson can take them away.
Yeah, Jackson is huge for IG.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a thing without 3 Jacksons, I don't think. So.
I mean, it's Jackson's also including every deck, I think, but IG, I think.
But this also combo deck doesn't want to score agendas. Any deck that doesn't want to score agendas needs to find a way of getting them not build up. Yeah. And Jackson is a good way of doing that. So as his museum, and
being able to float agendas in the bin is quite useful. If you're noised, do you consider checking archives? I mean, there's almost certainly 1 shock in there by now, so you might take a net, but you can reduce the trash cost, maybe go after Jackson. I don't know.
Yeah, well, when you run out of imp, I think
that's true.
You've
got imp. Yeah.
So he's quite poor. I mean, Aesops is still a problem. So without not having Aesops, it's still a problem.
I guess there could be a CVS in this deck. I'm not particularly sure what the tech cards will be in this IG deck, so I'm not sure if he's worried about that being in archives, for instance. I doubt there's more.
I don't think there'll be a CVS.
Yeah. So we've got a Lamprey. This is interesting. So he's going to run HQ, and this is going to do a little bit of work. You could consider resing the hostile. Maybe that's what he's thinking about.
Yeah, Lamprey is actually a really good card against IG. The things that help your IG match up as noise are Imp and Lamprey.
So we've got Bioethics. So that's interesting. Now, if he imps it, he's going to take a net from hostile. Or even if he trashes 2, it'd be 3, I think. I believe there's 1 card in the bin. So he does use imp to trash it. He's going to take a net from hostile. Okay, he loses a peddler. Which is a shame. He's going to run again, though, so he's not tempted to run he hasn't got the imp counter, I guess, now.
Yeah,
so
he's not going to be trashing anything. He's just going to lose Dave money.
He just wants to try and get an access. And Lamprey, yes.
And because there was essentially no ice on HQ.
Another one. He might still consider trashing it. He's got 2 credits.
It'll
be 3, of course, yeah.
So, because there's essentially no ice now on
he's going to run
HQ, Dave can't really click for 3 credits next turn because he'll run and make 4 go away.
He only needs 2 credits for the combo, but he does need a Ronin to be on the table or a tech startup, of course. So yeah, he's not in a position to do it this turn.
Yeah, so he has to really ice up HQ here. It's the only real option.
I mean, does he? The imp's gone. It depends what's in hand. He could purge. That would kill the Lamprey. Actually, that's good. Yeah, so that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, of course he purges.
So he purges the Lamprey. Yeah. No, you're right. If he had a low res cost piece of ice in his hand, he could have put it
Yeah,
on
no,
HQ.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Purging makes sense. Because of the sucker as well. Because there'll be a Parasite almost certainly by now.
Yeah.
Parasite and Cortex Lock would be pretty good.
Yay, woo!
So he's got Aesop, so he's got the trifecta of resources. Although, of course, he's not getting the mills for powering out these viruses. The static's been on the table since turn 1, which I feel like is going to have had a huge effect. I haven't been counting, but he's probably installed 6 viruses.
Yeah.
So that's a bunch of mills. That Jackson probably would have gone away by now, maybe.
Yeah, at least 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dave's poor. That's the thing that's keeping Chris in this game, is that he's keeping Dave as poor as he can.
Yugura, interesting. So he can break it for 1 card, might as well.
You might as well break the net damage for 1 card, right? One you know instead of one you don't.
Sorry, yeah, it's 2 cards, of course. Yeah, you might as well break the net, of course. He may... he's probably going to break the first sub as well, right? To get the access.
No, I don't.
You think not bother? There's an agenda, you won't get it. He wants the agenda, so he does. Okay, that's no good. Yeah, of course, that's the thing. Faust against a kill deck is not ideal because cards are life. So he's also running a little bit of a risk when he makes runs that cost a couple of cards. Because if he finishes a turn on 2 cards and the combo's on the table...
Yeah, it's all down to how many assets there are on the table, what you can see and what's unresed and what the worst case scenario is. Obviously, you know, some number of bioethics, some number of a Ronin or a tech startup with a dedicated in hand. You have to be aware of these things. I'm surprised Dave didn't trash over the Cortex stock. I can't see Chris. I mean, that 1 credit...
Well, it's down to 3 memory now. It makes him get another program. It makes him think about it.
I suppose he's Aesopsing now. So.
And it might stop him installing Grimoire, that kind of thing as well. Who knows?
Yeah.
So Parasite and Yugura, which does trash it and does trigger Hostile.
Medium.
So we've got a bit of a rollback here because Hostile needs to trigger. So Chris needs to put the medium back in his hand. Of course, he could have installed the medium and then installed the Parasite, but he doesn't. So he plays it as he played it. So having played the Parasite, he's going to take the damage from Hostile.
So is he asking for take back? Or?
No, just a bit of TO. So he understood that he was taking the damage as just a bit of explanation. A TO was observing and Dave was mentioning. And then he obviously put the medium back in hand. Yeah, just a bit of confusion, that's all. So yeah, he's going to take the damage, hopefully not hit a medium. It's a spare Faust, that's okay. So then now he probably will install the medium and run, I assume. Although now
he can't die. He can't die this turn though. It's just said he knows what the deck is.
Shock. Yeah, there's no combo on the table, so
and he can't even mill it away.
Yeah. So as far as I know, the Ronin has to be on the table or a startup, of course.
Yeah. Or bioethics, he could
just have
anything
a load
like
of
that.
bioethics, yeah. All the cards are rezzed on the table, so there's the kill's not there currently, but yeah. Okay, so he did get into HQ R&D a couple of times. He didn't steal an agenda though. He would have hoped to. As we get another install on a remote, and we've got
so he discards the shock.
The shock almost certainly in the bin now.
So the unresed asset becomes now a problem. Dave's still super poor, so he knows it takes 3 credits to combo.
Yeah, just 2. It's 1 to advance the Ronin for the 4th time and 1 to play Dedication Ceremony.
He's not selling. He's not saying Data Saga. Still Data Saga?
No, obviously not.
Okay, yeah, it's cash in hand.
He might be planning to run through the Cortex Lock this turn, so maybe he needs the full memory. So if he's thinking of making an HQ run.
Yeah, I don't know if he makes the HQ run without an import or something. An import or a lamprey.
He might also just be worried about Cortex Lock more generally. Like maybe he wants to run R&D. It's obviously in the deck. There's almost only 3 of them in the deck, I guess. Maybe just 2. I don't know.
Often in that situation with 0 money, you would tend to sell the sucker, but maybe you're right. He needs the memory, or he just didn't need the money because he was installing a cash that turn, or maybe he thinks he needs the sucker.
So we've got more remotes. That card above the Hostile is another remote.
So there's 3 new remotes. That's getting scary now. Now
you
have to seriously think about...
any one of them could be a bioethics or a Ronin or both a tech startup. Any combination of those could be dangerous.
Yeah. So, but he's got lamprey. So
he's
that's
got lamprey, so I expect
huge. He can get into 0 money now, maybe.
So he's got a bit of money.
Depends what this is. If he can't res it...
He's not got a huge number of cards.
If that ice costs under 3, you have to res it. You just have to. Because you're going to go to 0 regardless.
That's true.
It's the Cortex Lock's blank, he'll run 3 times. Like, you're going to be on 0 money.
He's having a think.
He obviously can res things that cost money as well.
Well, he might be able to res remotes as well.
Yeah,
of course.
But I think you res if you can.
I mean...
ideally, it's a crick or something.
Well, not if it's a Cortex Lock, right?
Yeah. What you want it to be is a crick.
Yeah. So it looks like he's thinking about raising assets instead.
It's not like Siphon where you do anything you can do to get poor. It's just that you might as well spend that money. But if you can't get our HQ shored up with the little money you have to do a purge. It's the only way around Lamprey. So it's going to lose him a whole turn if he can't do this.
Okay, so he doesn't res, which means Chris can walk through the Cortex with his 4 programs, such as an HQ access and Lamprey, of course.
Oh my god, that cerebral stat. There
Still
can't be
there.
3 in this deck, so he must have seen that one so many times.
It could be 3 in the deck.
I mean, that is possible. But
I feel like Strike, Employee Strike is a card that's very
so we're getting
strongly...
a res. Double bioethics.
Okay, so he's running HU again, so he's going to res the bioethics just to avoid losing them to Lamprey. So this is not a lock being set up, it's just because he's going to lose the money anyway.
Yeah, so he's got 0.
So I like this as an investment. Okay, he's going to see it. Ooh, now you want to trash it. There are 3 cards in the bin, so it's 4 to trash.
But you've also now got 2 res bioethics, which you also want to trash.
He's having to think about it, but yes, so he isn't going to trash a tech startup, but he does trash a bioethics.
So he hostile infrastructure fires again,
which includes a net from the hostile,
So it hasn't really saved him a net this turn, but it will going forward.
Yeah, and then he's going to lose another net at the because
there's another bioethic.
The corpse turn will start now, so he's going to res the Sensi
and
first.
a Sensei. Well, this is looking... With still no points scored for Noise, whose out is to score. He's not going to mill the corp out with a cerebral static down, so this is looking pretty...
So this Sensi is going to help. It's obviously going to help Dave to get the cards he needs. Chris, I mean, it's been true throughout the game, but Chris desperately needs an agenda access to turn off this static so he can actually start doing some work and start asking Dave some questions.
Just make it harder for him to trust that stuff. It depends a lot on the ice. Yeah. If it's a Crick and he's got a David and he can consistently check the bin, then that's good. He's just in a tough spot. I don't really know what you do. Your one saving grace is that Dave has no money, and you have a Lamprey down. So he purges. There goes the Lamprey.
So he's going to purge. He's obviously not in a hurry then, because the extra cards from Sensi aren't that big a deal, because he can just throw a couple of shocks in the bin, that kind of thing.
Anything else he does, he loses.
He's got Jackson. So.
Anything else he does, he loses all of his money. If he takes any money, he loses it. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you got purge to kill the Lamprey. So Dave's got a bioethics on the table, which is going to do some work if Chris can't trash it, and there's now something like 4 or 5 cards in the bin, I expect.
Quite an early levy.
So he plays levy early, but you have to, right? You might lose it. He might not have same old thing in the deck, so I can believe it. If you're playing on you're losing a net every turn, and if he runs the bioethics, he might lose it right then. So if you draw it, I think you play it straight away, because you don't want to take the risk you lose it, because then you will die when your deck runs out. His benefit here, I mean, both players are on 0 credits and 0 points. So, who's winning this game?
Dave, because Dave's out is not to get the 7 points.
Okay, sure. All right. So he's got bioethics on the table.
Chris is no nearer to winning, whereas Dave is nearer to winning because his deck is thinner and there's still 3 Ronin, 3 dedicated ceremony in the deck. So
that's true. He's causing genuine problems. The bioethics and the hostile on the table and the Sensi as well, of course.
Thing is,
asking Chris genuine questions.
Chris is smart enough to know exactly what's happening and to not make a mistake. And so, obviously, the dedicated ceremony Ronin kill only works if you get some sort of lock or some sort of critical mass of bioethics, so that you end up below. You end up on 3 cards.
He didn't consider running the bioethics, which he might have, although he can't afford to trash it actually, so that's why.
So he needs to end each turn on with enough cards that after bioethics he can't get Ronin killed.
What he needs is to get an imp and to start killing these things. Hostile first probably, and then bioethics with money maybe, or the other way around.
So it's about...
He might even consider running archives.
Drawing up, trashing pieces, and staying above 4 cards. Staying on as many cards as you can stay on at all times, essentially.
Actually, is that a good strategy? Could Chris have run archives while Dave has no credits? I mean, you probably take one or
shock damage. It all depends on whether you
take at least one, but he won't raise the ice, right? So you can reduce the trash cost and then kill maybe the Sensi.
Yeah, but you've got Sensi bioethics and there's hostile infrastructure.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's great all round, but
as long as you can end...
It's hard to draw and continue staying.
You're not going to die, unless he takes 2 credits now. You could...
If you run archives with 4 credits, you can now trash Sensi and bioethics in the same turn. You obviously can take some net from hostile as well. I think Chris needs to find an imp for the hostile and then go after the other 2, possibly after running archives.
Except there's now a face down card and 2 credits, so he's now...
Yeah,
he now has to make sure he ends his turn on enough cards after bioethics.
Yeah, so he has to finish his turn on, I want to say 4 cards. Yeah, because Ronin does 3, so bioethics and 1 Ronin are not enough. But he could check it, but he can't trash it. That's it, without drawing.
But he has Lamprey.
So Lamprey's going to run HQ. Okay, so he could.
He could res the Ronin.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. That's 0 to res if that is a Ronin. So he's going to res a Himitsu. That's quite interesting,
He
actually.
bounces.
Yeah. So he bankrupts himself, but he does prevent the Lamprey. I mean,
Yeah.
I think both players are kind of okay with that happening.
Yeah, and I mean, Chris wasn't running to get the access; he was running to make him four, so he can
Which
now
has
bounce off
worked,
this,
yeah.
and then he
And
gets
now
to
he can
run
run
other
archive.
places.
Yeah, he's
and
going to run
totally
RD.
safe.
Gets a medium hostile, which you have to leave, right? I mean, as in you actually have to. You can't trash it. Yeah, you might want to go again, I guess.
So you're right; it's either the bin or you just keep running R&D. If you don't think you can trash things, then
So he's just going to take a credit and lose a card to Biothix. Yeah, you'd like to trash that. It's been in play for quite a while. Imp, that's what you want. Oh, that is... Yeah, that hurts.
that does that.
That does hurt. But he had to finish his turn on 3 cards, which I think he has. So if that is a Ronin... Well, he's got no money now, actually. So
Well,
maybe you don't take the credit. Maybe you install the Imp, because you really need it on the table.
So whether Dave senseis here is very important. If he doesn't sensei, he has the combo.
That's true.
And you know that you can't end your turn with under 4 cards.
Yeah.
And Dave having 2 credits.
So he's definitely got dedication in hand anyway. He's also got a genetics pavilion, which might be useful, as well as another sensei, I think. So we don't know what's on the table, but if it's a Ronin or a tech startup, that means when Dave has 2 credits, he can get the combo. But unfortunately for Dave, if he takes any money, he might find it Lampreyed. Assuming Chris has a way to deal with this Himitsu, which you may do. Not sure what that would be.
Faust.
Yeah, Faust, but he doesn't really want to use cards, does he? Although I get to at the start.
When he's on 0 money, you can also parasite it, right?
So Dave didn't use Sensei. He took his mandatory draw.
He must have the combo.
So
he must have.
He's just going to purge. Okay, so I think his plan now is
So
to
Dave
purge.
has done the right thing.
He's going to purge this turn. Next turn he's going to take credits, and the turn after he's going to win. So Chris needs to respond to this quite aggressively, I think.
But he's only going to win if Chris goes below a certain number of cards, right? So Chris can play smart enough to not lose, but he's definitely got a. He's very limited by what he can do each turn because he can't.
So he's going to click on Run R&D. Philotic, okay, and the static dies. Oh, what's it all change around? Okay. So he's now 2 points up. Dave still has no credits, so
You're safe.
So the combo is not on. He's going to run archives. Interesting. So he's going to take some net, but I think he wants to
Maybe get a shuffle. No, well he's only seen 1 card anyway.
But he's only seen 1 card.
So he said he doesn't go deeper on R&D.
He'd see 2 cards, right? Because he stole Philotic. Am I mistaken? So he'd see 2 cards.
Yeah, but the shuffle's no good. They're fresh. They're all fresh cards.
They'd be fresh cards, correct? Yeah, they'd all be fresh cards.
Shuffle or no shuffle, they're all fresh.
I actually think what he's thinking about is that there might be agendas in archives because Jackson's been on the table the whole time. Yeah. So Dave might be floating some agendas in archives. At any rate, he runs archives and some cards do go back in, which leads me to suspect he might be right. So this is going to make R&D a little bit juicier. I expect Chris to go back to R&D then, for exactly that reason. He does take 2 net from shocks. Just 2 shocks, nothing more.
So that is
So he's going to take.
Chris knows now is the turn that he can do that because Dave's on no money.
Yeah, that's it. And next turn, if Dave takes credits or threatens a combo, he can just start drawing a bunch of cards and hope for the best. Maybe run the Biothix if he's worried about it. Okay, so he has taken some. Net.
We need a little counter that just has the number of cards in Chris's hand. That would be super useful.
Deck was being shuffled off screen by Dyer. I'm not sure why that was actually.
He wasn't.
I'm checking the cards the right way around or something. Yeah. Okay. 0 credits. He's going to access and therefore steal future perfects. Punishing. He's going to go again. Yes. So he's seen 2 and a tech startup. So we can see
1, 2.
2 fresh cards. Yeah. It might as well right click for Jackson and GFI. And that's it. He got it.
Wow.
Oh. Okay. So quite the turnaround. You feel like Noise was really up against it, but Chris. It was Lamprey, right? He managed to pressure HQ,
Lamprey.
keep the money down, and when Dave was on 0 credits, even though he looked like he would be able to recover the following turn, quite possibly, Chris sensed his opportunity to use medium and really take advantage of R&D. Checking archives was interesting. He could have done it first, but maybe he was just trying to check a card and then get shuffling to see.
I think that was his plan in his head. He had see the top card, then get a shuffle, then see 2 fresh cards.
Yeah.
But he scored, so he's like, I get 2 fresh cards anyway.
But you still check.
Yeah,
I think he
could have run R&D again before running archives and then run R&D again.
Yeah,
so he could have
but running archives seemed to be a good plan because
they could easily have been.
There seemed to be agendas in archives.
9
points.
I
assume that's what Dave shuffled back in.
Yeah.
He shuffled in some face down cards and a bar of things. Yeah. Okay. So quite interesting. That was a really you sensed that Dave's kill combo was never more than 2 turns away. I mean, early on, he could have had it, right? When there was that face down, he had a tech start up.
Yeah, there was a time he could.
And if he'd had the dedication ceremony in hand at that point, he could have tech start up for the running.
So yeah, Chris running, when he ran that Philotic, even running at all that turn and not just drawing up, because there was a tech startup in the table, which essentially was what he was going to try and trash, right? He was aiming for a tech startup. He ran that psychic field to try and hit things like Ronin or tech startup. But because he missed one and left one on the table, if David had one of a 3 of in his deck, he lost the game. So you either let him have his combo but drop so he can't actually use it, or you have to hit the combo pieces. That was sort of his only option there. And Chris got away quite lightly there.
I'm not sure what the economy is in Dave's deck, but he seemed quite poor throughout, and I don't think it was just Lamprey. He clicked for credits a few times. He doesn't need a lot of money, so maybe that's it. He has a lot of low res cost stuff. He has breaker bays for the hostile infrastructures, so it may be that's it. But maybe he has celebrity gifts,
maybe
he has hedge funds.
Away what you've got so much, but yeah, of course, there's hedge funds.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if the runner knows you have the combo, then fine. You might be generous, of course. That's the risk, and you're not going to score them, so they will build up in hand. There will be a couple, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So Dave drops out, finishes 3rd.
He does,
and it is Chris who will progress to face Evan in the final of the Expo Regional. Which will be our next game. Should be very interesting indeed. We're going to see. I'll just very quickly check my notes. We're going to see Chris playing NEH against Evan playing Haley.
Yep.
So
before Haley was as big a thing as it is
before
right
Haley
now.
was as big, and before NEH was as small.
Yeah.
Chris's NEH deck is an asset spam NEH. And Evan's Haley's Pitchfork. So this is a little while ago. So it's not a spy camera build. It's Pitchfork build. So in my mind, this could go either way. Haley's quite slow to set up, but if she can set up Clot Lock, then
she can Clot Lock so well.
And with Sacrificial Constructs coming out the walls.
And fan sites.
Fan sites and Artist Colonies, So if
she can make scoring really tough, but it depends a lot on Chris being able to sneak stuff out, because as I said, his asset spam, he can score through clots because you can just put them on the table.
Yeah, you have to. If you can sneak stuff out, that's kind of how you beat this deck. Or you have a lot of CVSs, or go very fast, of course, which NBN can do.
It's pretty even-ish matchup. I think it's probably leaned towards Haley because of her ability to claw. It depends a lot on your options to score as NEH without fast advance. So it's interesting. I think Chris is running an all-seeing eye. That might be useful.
Yeah, so he'll have some tech like that. This is Salsa Islands. This was before even Exchange of Information. But All-Seeing Eye is a card. Close to Counts is a card, although that has only had very recent resurgence, I think.
Yeah, I think there's maybe an All-Seeing Eye, and that can swing a Haley matchup quite strongly if you can hit the right pieces.
If you can hit Artist Colonies
and
Aesops.
It'll be an interesting game either way, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, I'd like to remind all our viewers they can find our videos at the website nearreadinggrid.co.uk, and they can find us on Twitter and on Facebook. They can also find us on Patreon. Hopefully, they'll be able to tell from our dulcet tones, crisp audio, that their Patreon dollars have paid for a very nice set of microphones for us to do our commentary and also the Dead Channel podcast, which you should listen to. Thank you, Joe, for helping commentate.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.